somewhere in your house, there might be a photo of you as a baby, laughing at something just out of frame. You have no idea what that thing was. You will never know. Your brain was there. It saw everything, and yet it kept none of it. This is strange when you think about it. You remember your first day of middle school. You remember a random Tuesday from 3 years ago because of one embarrassing thing you said. But the first 2 or 3 years of your life, the years when you learned to walk, to speak, to recognize your own mother's face, are simply gone. Why would your brain erase the very beginning of your own story? Sigmund Freud noticed this over a century ago and gave it a name: infantile amnesia. He had his own theory, rooted in repression, and most of it did not hold up. But the phenomenon itself was real, and it has puzzled researchers ever since, because babies are not blank. Newborns recognize their mother's voice within days. By 1 year old, a child can understand hundreds of words. Something in there is clearly learning. So where does it go? The answer starts with a part of your brain called the hippocampus. Think of it as a librarian, sorting your daily experiences into folders and filing them away for later. The problem is, in early childhood, that librarian is still being trained. The hippocampus is one of the last brain structures to fully mature, and in babies, it is still growing new neurons at a rapid pace. Psychologist Paul Franklin ran an experiment on mice to test what happens when a young brain grows new neurons too fast. He found that rapid neuron growth in early life actually disrupts existing memory circuits. Picture the librarian constantly hiring new staff, rearranging the shelves, changing the filing system week after week. Any memory filed away 1 month might be scrambled or overwritten by the next. Your earliest memories were not lost. They were built on a foundation that kept rebuilding itself. But that is only half the story, because forgetting is not the whole picture either. Developmental psychologist Carol Peterson has spent years interviewing young children about events from their own lives, then checking back years later to see what survived. What she found was surprising. Very young children can describe an event from months earlier in vivid, accurate detail. Ask them about it again, a few years down the road, and it is gone completely. The memory did not fail to form. It formed just fine. It simply did not last. This tells us something important. Your brain was not too weak to remember your early childhood. It was choosing not to keep those memories around. Have you ever wondered why? One clue lies in language. Researcher Patricia Bauer has shown that children need a certain kind of narrative structure, a sense of self, a timeline, a story they can tell before a memory becomes truly permanent. A 1-year-old does not yet have a strong sense of me existing yesterday and continuing to exist tomorrow. Without that thread, an experience has nothing to attach itself to. It floats briefly, and then it is gone. Which means memory is not simply a recording device. It is closer to a story your brain is constantly writing, one that requires a narrator who has not been born yet. Here is the part that should genuinely surprise you. This is not a flaw. It might be the price of rapid learning. In the first few years of life, your brain forms more new connections per second than at any other point in your entire existence. It is building the basic architecture of a mind almost from nothing. How to see, how to move, how to understand that other people have thoughts too. All of that construction work comes at a cost. There simply is not room to also archive a permanent diary of the process. So your earliest years were not wasted. They were spent building the machine that would later do the remembering. And here is where it gets personal. Even though you cannot recall those years, they did not disappear without a trace. The parts of you shaped by that period, how safe you felt, how you learned to trust or to soothe yourself, how language first clicked into place, all of that is still running quietly in the background of who you are today. You carry the outcome of those years even without carrying the footage. Think about that the next time you look at a childhood photo. You will not remember what made that toddler laugh, but some part of what made you was already being written in that exact moment. The picture is just missing its narrator. So somewhere in your house, there is a photo of you as a baby, laughing at something you will never remember. And maybe that is not a loss at all. Maybe it is proof that your mind was too busy becoming itself to stop and write it down.